Have you ever wondered what would happen if you take Cheetos mac and cheese, cover it with a topping of other Cheetos, and then baked it? Well, I'm going to try that and let you know. So right after I made that last baked ziti video, I was in the grocery store and I saw Cheetos mac and cheese. And I figured, what would happen if I took this, cooked it, put it in a little baking dish, and then covered it with a topping of a mix of either puffed or crunchy Cheetos, we'll find out soon, and then bake it like a baked ziti. In my mind, it sounded absolutely delicious. I don't know if it's going to be, so let's find out. The first thing I needed to figure out, though, was would crunchy or puffy Cheetos make a better topping? So to do that, I'm going to throw both into Ziploc bags. I'm going to crush them up with a meat cleaver, meat hammer tenderizer, and see which ones taste better when they're crushed up into a fine powder. Almost like breadcrumbs, we're basically making Cheeto breadcrumbs. Both were shockingly difficult to break up, but the puffy ones really were difficult to break up. Throwing those into little glass cups, I'm just going to taste them, see what you would expect. The crunchy ones tasted just like crunchy Cheetos broken up, but the powdered ones were almost cheese-like. They were a very, very fine powder. So I decided I'm going to mix both of these up in a bowl and then just add some parm to it and make kind of breadcrumbs that way. So the ultimate ending here was I used both, I crushed them up, and then I poured in some grated parm. And I'm pretty happy with that result. It looks pretty good. Now we just have to cook the actual mac and cheese. It says to cook it for 7 minutes. I'm going to cook it for around 4. That way it has the opportunity to continue cooking in the oven. I'm also going to make it much more liquidy than if you were making a regular mac and cheese. That way those noodles can soak up that liquid in the oven and have a little bit of a liquid to soak in. So after 4 minutes, I just empty that out. We're going to add right around 2 to 3 tablespoons of butter. I'm also going to add about 1 to 2 ounces of heavy cream. We're going to add in those Cheetos packs, both of them. And then we're also going to add in a bunch of whole milk just to get it to the consistency that I want. I will update that throughout just to make sure it's where I want it, but I don't want to add all cream because it'll become a little too thick. But now on the heat, I'm going to mix this up. Make sure that there is kind of soupiness at the bottom. I'm going to add a little more milk just to get it where I wanted. If you were eating this as just mac and cheese, this would be way too liquidy. I would not recommend that. But it'll be perfect for this baking process. And now I'm just going to get it into a fairly small baking dish. I think this is probably like 4 by 6, maybe a little bit bigger, but it is out of the 4 I own, it's the second smallest. So this is not a huge baking dish. We're going to get both packets in there, filled up almost to the brim. I'm going to kind of level them out, make sure all the liquid is also evenly distributed so they all can kind of cook a little more. And now we're just going to cover it in that breadcrumb topping. I'm going to be fairly liberal with this. I have a lot of it, and I want to really lay it on. I want to cover all those nooks and crannies. And then I have my oven preheated to right around 400 degrees. I'm going to throw it on a baking sheet in case it overflows a little bit. And we're just going to throw that in the oven. I was aiming for around 30 minutes, but I'm just going to watch it and make sure it doesn't burn. And honestly, it came out after about 20 minutes. It was browning a little bit. It wasn't turning crispy. It was turning burnt. So that's when I decided to pull it out and let it rest for about 10 or 15 minutes before I dove into it. Here we are after I let it cool. I'm kind of excited to dive into this. I do like this Cheeto mac and cheese in general. I do think the cheese flavor is actually kind of decent. I'm sure plenty of people are going to really hate that, but I'm going to pull out the corner here. As you can see, it doesn't stay together the way a nice big ziti would, but as you can see also on the insides, it's not really soupy. That liquid was absorbed into the noodles, and it is not just sitting in a soaking bath of it, which is really nice, and that's what I was looking for. But the ultimate thing is, how does it taste? I was kind of shocked. It's actually kind of good. The baking process and the topping actually kind of cut through the overwhelming kind of cheesy creaminess that a normal bowl of mac and cheese would give you. And it kind of leveled it out and made it a little more savory. I'm not sure why. It may have been the topping. It may have been just the baking process. But this was actually shockingly good. I was expecting to just throw this out, but I actually may eat a little more of this. Strongly recommend trying.